here for Seconds Out with the boxers. Ben Shalom. Ben, good to see you. True Grit is coming up this weekend. Callum Simpson versus Steve Woodle, as well as Caroline Dubois defending her newly crowned full version of the WBC world title against Jessica Kamara. I just want to rewind quickly though to yesterday. We had the announcement of Azim versus Lipinets and Vidal Riley versus Isaac Chamberlain, a fight that's been mooted for a long time. Happy to get that over the line, as well as Azim stepping up to another level.
That was a lot.
It was.
I don't know what you said. I don't know. It's fine. I can work it out. Yesterday was big. It's great to be back, by the way. Happy New Year. I'm really excited for this year. It's when I think in boxing sometimes you wish for a break, and then when the break comes you just wish you were back. So delighted to be back. Yesterday was a big press conference for us, and Adam Azim coming back in a big way against Sergey Lipinets. This is a huge fight for him, huge fight for his career. Vidal Riley equally taking a career highest test against Isaac Chamberlain, who has been there, done that. Really, really hard one to call. Really huge step up for Vidal. Two massive fights on a card that is going to be massive on February the 1st. Still a couple more announcements to come. And then obviously today with Callum Simpson, it's a big one in Sheffield. Sold out absolutely weeks ago. And to see Caroline Dubois here defending a world title for the first time, it's been a long road, but she's still 23 years old, and we believe she's the best lightweight in the world, and she's got to prove she's not just world level on Saturday night, but she's elite level against Jessica Kamara, who has upset the odds before and is coming to put on another one.
What sort of problems do you think Steve will cause for Cam Simpson? Because being amongst the gyms, I'm hearing that Steve's really up for this and could really cause an upset here.
Listen, he's got experience on his side. We know he can bang. I remember taking him out to fight Boris Crichton and dealt with that reasonably well. And then the Lerone Richards knockout shows. But I remember 3 or 4 years ago being talked to about Steve Woodle, and he'd spent a lot of time in the States, and he sort of struggled to get that UK promoter behind him. And this is almost what he's worked his whole career for. You know, he's a very, very good fighter that's boxed at a very, very high level, and now gets his chance in a headline show against what he'll see as a novice. And I think that's the biggest challenge for Callum Simpson. He's going in there with someone that's made mistakes before, that's had the big fights. And to be fair to Callum, after what he's been through in the past few months, he deserves so much credit for taking a fight like this. Not just taking it, demanding a fight like this. It wasn't something that we necessarily were offering. It wasn't something that we were necessarily pushing. We know what's happened in his personal life. We know where he's at. He's a huge ticket seller, which brings a whole much more pressure. And he's putting it all on the line on Saturday. And yes, Steve's really up for it, as you said, with Soggy and Peggy behind them, who we know really well. They're telling me I've made a massive mistake, and that's what you want, because you've got two guys that have career-defining fight on Saturday night. And may the best man win. And credit to both guys.
Winding up to the whole year, what is Boxer's kind of statement directive this year? Where do you want to push your fighters and your stable towards the back end of the year?
Look, for me, I think it's as growing, we had to have different fighters that maybe would plug a gap at times, because our fighters that we'd signed with at the start or that were debuting with us weren't ready for the big fights that people were interested in, weren't ready for the main events, weren't ready for that time. But now when you look at it, you see Callum Simpson going into career-defining fights and getting to the better end of his career. Adam Azim, Vidal Riley, Caroline Dubois, Lauren Price. If you look at the schedule, Ben Whittaker and Fraser Clark coming back in April. Those guys are now in fights that are interesting to the fight fans, that they follow their journeys up to this point. And so it's very exciting and very satisfying for me as a promoter to have guys that we have been the underdogs, that have started with us, and now at the point where they want a headline and they're ready to headline, and they're ready to win world titles, and they're ready to be in the very biggest events. And the key is to put on big British shows consistently. Of course, we'll be working very closely with Riyadh season and the big events like last year. But I think the key for us is to be consistent, put on the big British shows, create the next set of stars, and it's already looking good.
There has been a recent development regarding a fight from the back end of last year, and the former Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron did an interview with October Red, and off the back of that, Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotion put out a statement. I won't read the statement in full to yourself, but what's your reaction to that statement from Frank Warren?
Slightly over the top as usual. what I can't get my head round is I was asked to make an offer by the manager, assuring that he'd get it done, and then said that the money wasn't enough, and then asked me to make another offer and said what he wanted, and then we made that offer, and then suddenly that wasn't enough, and it's just like, we're not the ones playing games. We communicated last year that Ben will be back in April and we'll be headlining the Midlands, and we'd love to do that fight, and but we feel like we've given them what they wanted. But anyway, I'll pick up. I'm confused by the situation in the sense that I don't know what more is to be said.
It just sounded a little bit of a confusing situation. Look, on off the back of that, is this kind of the main sticking point about which platform it's on, as opposed to anything? Do you want Ben Whittaker to fight on a boxer show if he's to fight Liam Cameron?
It's not just that. Ben was always going to be fighting in April, and we communicated, and the manager even accepted that. This is all in writing, and that's why I'm confused. And then they said, right, and then they said, please make us an offer. This is going to be a big event on Sky. We sent an offer, and we were told it wasn't enough, and then told to come back with this a number, and then we came back. So it's, I think the chronology.
That's one. Yeah, chronology.
See, you're a legal guy. The chronology is wrong, and I don't understand it, and it just seems, as I say, just over the top. I mean, who's just statements for things like that?
Towards the end of the statement, and I guess the bottom line of it is as to whether both parties can come to the table, I guess yourself and Cruise Promotions, to make the fight there. Are you still confident that the fight can be made, or is it dead in the water?
I think it gets made. I thought they wanted it. They asked for what they wanted, and we've given them what they wanted. So, yeah, I believe the fight does get made.
Okay, moving forward to another fight that we're hoping gets made as well too is Eubank Jr versus Conor Benn. Crunch time, I think you described it as. Is there a deadline that both parties are putting on the fight, and how likely is it that the two get in the ring this year?
I'm confident, but I don't want to say too much. We've done so much work. The hard work's done. It feels like we're at the end point now, and I just want to I don't want anyone to mess it up. It's a huge occasion. It would be a huge event. As I said, I think Eddie said week. I believe, 1 week. Otherwise, it won't happen. But again, we all say that, but I'm confident now that everything's been done, and now it's just, can everyone just get over the line safely and securely, and not do anything unexpected.
There was a report that come out from international media surrounding Florin Makhachev and his position away from the sport. Might be the case that he won't be returning to the boxing ring anytime soon. Have you had any conversation with international police or anything like that as to what his status currently is?
Listen, I know as much as you on that. Spoke to the manager. I think it's for something very historic and some sort of mix-up in that sense. This is for something years and years ago. I think that he's actually, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think something's changed since that initial report. I just want to see him back in the ring soon. He's been a fantastic friend, fantastic fighter, fantastic entertainer in British boxing. And being an Albanian guy coming over here and doing what he did. But in terms of that situation, I can't comment because I'm not involved in that.
On a lighter note then, Savannah Marshall, someone off record asked you off the back of last year, so when her return to the ring is, have you got any update on that?
Looks imminent. She'll be here on Saturday night. It's a shame. Like, I've had such a good time with Savannah, and it was an incredible journey, and it all culminated with the Clarissa Shields fight, then the unification at 168. We almost got to a point where she wants the big fights, and there's not that many at that weight division. She then had the big opportunity with PFL, but now it looks like the Clarissa fight at 168. 3-minute rounds for me is where we can see Savannah finally get the better of Clarissa, and that's a fight that we want to make.
Very last thing for myself, Fury versus AJ. A lot of British boxing fans have been talking about that for a number of years. You were the promoter to make Callum versus Brooks. Sure, it might not have been what it was at the peak of its powers, but you did get that over the line when a lot of fans didn't think that would ever happen. Do you think that Fury AJ does happen?
I think if they both fight again, then surely that's a fight. I can't see what else either of them would necessarily want to do at this stage of their career. Both earned a fortune, both former world champions. both done so much for the sport. You just want them to get out safely at this stage. But if they're going to continue, you'd expect that would be the fight. So common sense says that it probably will happen, unless it's decided that one of them wants to hang up the gloves and they've given so much, and to avoid any unnecessary punishment. But yeah, let's see.
Thanks, Ben. Look forward to the fights this weekend. Thanks for your Seconds Out.